Hello, welcome or welcome back to Heretic Owl Tarot. My name is Liz. I'll be guiding you on this journey today. And I've gone back to making like little intro videos to put at the beginning of each reading. So that's what this is. And I'm stalling because I can't remember what I was actually going to say in this intro. Memory. Anyway, okay, here we go. It's all coming back to me now. Couple things. I'm going to stick to just doing human design profile readings for the time being. I also am going to start doing readings by type as well. So, there'll be a reading for manifestors, there'll be a reading for projectors, there'll be a reading for generators and manifesting generators. I'm pretty sure I'm going to keep those in one reading for now anyway, until I feel differently about it. And then reflectors as well. So I'm going to add those readings in, but I just, a little birdie told me to stick with those. And I think, honestly, in great part because those are the readings that I actually get like a response on, and there's more engagement in those readings that I put out. And that's what I want, and being a manifesting generator myself, right? It's responding. So, instead of doing the zodiac signs and the human design profile readings, at least for the next little while, I don't know how long that'll last until a birdie tells me to do differently. And obviously that birdie is like my intuition or like my own like personal guidance, right? But that's what I'm going to do for the time being. And I think like part of why I haven't necessarily done that sooner is because I really haven't been engaging with or like super I don't know, whatever the fucking word is. Like, how annoying is that? To not be able to find the right word. I just haven't been as in the realm of human design as I have been with astrology. Like I've been spending a lot of focus on just understanding astrology, and especially like my own astrology. And so I just really haven't been engaging with a lot of human design content. Like I really haven't been keeping on top of it. So as a 5/1, I think I just feel a bit insecure about making that the prominent thing. And I honestly, I can't even say that's going to change. Like I'm not saying that like I'm going to start diving heavily back into human design just yet. I know the basics. I know all of the shit that like I did learn before. But yeah, that is the truth. That is the truth that I haven't been as on top of that as I have been on top of astrology. I mean, obviously, astrology is also included in like human design, but anyway, that would be getting into a bit of like semantics. So, from here on, for however long, I'm just going to stick to doing human design profile readings. The 333 readings are still available. Those are the only that's the only offering that I have right now. Like, I'm not doing longer form, or I'm not doing one-on-one, like, personal readings for the time being. I had a couple people email me about a personal reading, like a longer form personal reading, and I just don't feel called, or it just doesn't feel good for me to put energy into those for right now. For whatever reason, I mean, I do feel like I'm in this, like, transitionary phase, and I'm like literally in the middle of it, like that liminal space, and I just kind of feel like I need to kind of keep my energy, like, focused on whatever is going to unfold, like, with that. And for whatever reason, it just doesn't feel good to offer, like I said, like, anything basically beyond, like, those 333 readings. So, which is also, like, kind of scary, right? Like, because I'm like, ugh. I could use the money right now. I could use, really, ultimately, I could use the money right now. Like, that is the truth of it. I could use the money, but that is the only thing, like, and that's not, like, a very good, that's not a motivator that, like, feels good, for me right now. So the capacity that I do have is, again, the 333 readings. The basics of that is that it's $3.33. You would Venmo me $3.33 and include your email address, and I will pull 2 cards for you. The first card would be the door, or, that's basically the obstacle or the opportunity, or the thing that you are standing in front of, or the thing that you are coming up to in your life. And then the key would be the guidance or the advice, or how to work through that obstacle, or, rite of passage, or, whatever. And the readings that I have done on those so far, and thank you to those who have requested that offering, they have been so amazing and so cool. But it is a written reading, so you'll get a PDF with a picture of the tarot card. The interpretation that I have for it, and then any, overall, like, thoughts or things that I kind of picked up on in those cards too. So again, like I said, the ones that I have done have been so amazing and so cool, just the way that things have unfolded. And, the people who have gotten those readings, there's been great feedback from those readings as well. So thank you also for that. And I'll put, of course, an explanation of that in the description. Yeah, really quick then, because this is long as hell all of a sudden. Let me just introduce the decks that we're going to be using. The tarot deck is the Wandering Moon Tarot, and I was going to say the affirmation deck, which I guess that it is, but the Oracle deck that we're going to be using is the Inner Fucking Peace deck, and my sister actually sent these cards to me. So yeah, let's get into the reading. Great. So this is the reading for the 5/1 Human Design Profile. The Heretic Investigator. If you don't know what your Human Design Profile is, there is a link in the description for you to get your Human Design Body Graph, and your profile will be listed in there. Your type will be on there as well. So definitely be sure to look out for those readings whenever I get around to posting them. And is there something else? I don't think so. We have 3 cards that came out, which is the exact amount of cards that we want. So we have the Four of Swords, the Wheel of Fortune. Hello. The King of Swords. The Queen of Wands. The King of Wands. Okay. Let's get your affirmation card. With a license to chill. Highly meditated, which is honestly kind of hilarious. With you know, the Four of Swords being the card that came out first. There's like these little pieces of paper from this tarot deck. Anyway, is everything? Yeah. Okay. It's like I can feel what I want to say. I'm just waiting for the words to, like, you know, make it to my head here. I just want to start with saying too that I absolutely fucking love when the Wheel of Fortune comes out in the middle. Because to like wherever it does end up coming out, it's like whatever is in front of or behind it is what is being affected with change. And when it comes out in the middle, there's almost like this clear thing of like, this is what was going on before or currently. Because not that I intentionally, like, I don't do these readings as like past, present, future. I used to, I have at some point, but not currently. But it can work out that way, right? So it's almost like whatever has been going on in your life now or in the near or the recent past, the Wheel of Fortune is like, that is changing. And then we get an idea of like what is on the other side of that, versus like if it came out first, then we don't like necessarily have a ton of information as far as like, and that's not even necessarily the point either when it does come out first. It's just, you know, you need to know that what something is changing and what is behind that change, or like what is going to be affected by that change, right? If it's at the end, then it's like the two cards that are in front of it are the vibe that has been going on, and there's going to be change afoot, you know, that would be affecting those things. So anyway, yeah, but when it comes out in the middle, it's like, I love too that we have the Four of Swords on the left side, or, you know, again, this could be what's currently going on or the recent past, because and especially even too like highly meditated, which is, you know, a nice little play on words, but with a license to chill. There really feels like this. I keep hearing in my head, like, getting your shit together, like in the sense of really honing in on your mindset, your beliefs about yourself. I mean, you know, like meditation, the purpose, quote unquote, for that is to hear yourself, to connect to your soul and, you know, your higher self, you know. It's co-creation. It's getting clear on what you want to do, what you want to believe is possible, what you even believe about yourself. And too, the Four of Swords talks about healing, but it's healing of the mind. And especially, it comes after the Three of Swords, which of course we don't have out here, but it comes after the Three of Swords, which is heartbreak and disappointment and, maybe betrayal, rejection, but again, it's swords. So it's how is that experience living in our minds? What stories are we attaching to those experiences or to those feelings? And the Four of Swords is about rest, and it's, giving yourself time to process those things. What is true, And this feels like very intentional. Like if you have been going through a period where you're like, I want to actively change my perspective because my beliefs have changed, or the way that I perceive myself, or the way that I perceive what is possible, or what I even want, or, maybe there has been some work with your ego too, because, our ego is created by the stories that we attach to experiences, circumstances, feelings, right? And it becomes the reasons why we act the way that we do, why we do some things, we don't do other things. It's the beliefs that we have about ourselves, about our lives, about, again, like what is possible. It's the filter that we consume our lives through, and then it kicks out a story about it, So if you have been in a period where you're like, I just don't believe those things anymore. So what do I believe? Or am I just going to like give myself space to not attach myself to that belief, or not, almost to like just react to things in or through like old programming. And I know for me, I'm a 5/1 also. I know for me personally, like there was something that switched for me in like October, November. I think maybe like the October Libra new moon is like what started the shift. But it was just like not big displays of things, or not huge breakthroughs or anything like that, but it was just these little pops of aha moments, and these little fuck that things, like, because I would find myself again either like reacting or approaching a thing, or thinking about a thing through a specific lens, which was a belief in a pattern and a behavior that, I've had since I was a kid. But it was like through the program or conditioning that I just did not resonate with anymore. It didn't feel good or right to be thinking about things, or having that perspective, or approaching whatever it was like from that perspective. It was also a lot of like, almost admitting to myself that there are certain things that are just not working in my life anymore. And also, I don't know what the fuck to do about that, I just know that's what's true. And I'm not going to freak out about what to do about that. I have to know that if it's not clear what to do about it right now, that I'm not going to do anything about it. And when it is clear, then I will. And like I have to trust that. I do fucking believe that, So again, it's like, and it's a lot of like self trust too. There's a lot of like radical self acceptance in there. There's a lot of, like I said, fuck it. And even just like a lot of chill energy, because like I refuse to make decisions from a place of fear or anxiety anymore. Like that was my MO. That was my programming, and it worked, sure, but I always ended up in situations that I fucking hated and that sucked the life out of me, I'm also, I'm a manifesting generator. Generators are meant to follow their joy. I think everybody is too. But it's like the things that light you up, the things that like fuel the fire or like make you feel alive, since we have, the sacral thing. And we are always like, we are constantly responding to shit, And I also like made the decision too of like, if it feels good, that's what I'm going to do, like posting these videos. And even like I said in the intro about just feeling guided to stick with the human design ones for now. That's what feels good. It doesn't make me any money. There's no security in this, but that is what feels good right now. Like I don't feel like I'm, putting my head in the sand, or I'm avoiding responsibility yet anyway. So, anyway, I'm just saying like, that's how I'm relating to this. Like you could have really been focusing on healing yourself too, of course, really even connecting. And what is so interesting through the majority of the readings that I've done so far is that the crown chakra keeps coming up. And even, this King of Swords here with the crown. And, like really the Ace of Swords going through there, which is the sword of truth, perspective, ideas, discernment, discipline, certainty as well. And then, just the imagery on this card of like, just all of this out here, so colorful, and it's really creative and even, just co-creating, like really getting clear on what it is that you even want to manifest, or what are your intentions for the actions that you're taking, or what you're putting your energy into. It's like, what is the vision that you have for yourself? And it took getting quiet and sitting with yourself, and really too, like being observant of your thoughts and what's going in there, and what are you giving attention to. And again, like for the longest time for me, I was giving a lot of attention to anxiety, and also this realization that I came to in January, because I really was like really pretty anxious at the end of the year, kind of going into the beginning of the year. Like there is just a lot of uncertainty and lack of security that I'm feeling right now, and whatever. And like, I just wasn't really doing anything. And I'm not going to lie, like, I was brain dumping into ChatGPT. And after I did that, I had this realization. I was like, man, I really should actually be spending this time. I have this idea for a book. And I was like, I really should be spending this time working on the outline, or, like, just kind of figuring those little details out. Because again, like, a decision hasn't been clear yet. Like, there's still a lot of uncertainty. Maybe I'm working through like fear, blah, 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 whatever. And as soon as I was like, you know what? I actually should be working on this idea. My whole fucking vibe, everything fucking changed. Like, my mood, how I felt in my body, my mindset. And I just, like, I had this aha moment that I was like, I need to have a creative outlet. I just do. And what's so funny is that, like, I don't even really see myself as being creative, but I do write like poetry, and it's usually when I'm like, in a wave, or like I'm really not feeling all that great, so it's not like very peppy. But whatever. It's poetry, it's creative, it's out of me, at least. And so even like this, all this, color and everything, like maybe there was also like a creative outlet that you found, or need to also have some sort of creative outlet, whatever that means for you too. It doesn't have to be what a traditional, because I just don't think like 5/1s are all that traditional to begin with. But whatever that is for you, daydreaming almost. And again, like, it could just be like while you're, and it doesn't even have to be just like passively meditating, but while you're driving down the road, washing dishes, or doom scrolling, whatever. But like in your head though, you're envisioning the destination, the goal, like you're really getting clear on what it is you want to do. And we can see that also too, like in the cards, because I know we've really only talked about the Four of Wands and a lot about me, and sorry about that. Hopefully it made sense though, but there is though, like this energy of, it could even be sharing whatever this was for you. Because the Wheel of Fortune is basically coming out of this, like this whole, Four of Swords situation is, has served its purpose. It did exactly what it needed to do for you. And now it's moving into like going from the Four of Swords, like going from, just being quiet, being within yourself, just kind of going through your mental files and unpacking all that shit. Even, like really working on your mindset, even going to the King of Swords again, right? Like, it could be sharing those perspectives, like sharing what worked for you. It could even be sharing your creativity, because kings are visible. People look to kings for guidance. They're authority figures. logic, again, discernment, even, being able to take calculated risks, trusting yourself. This King of Swords to me in this reading feels like expansion. Like there's something mentally that you understand about yourself, even maybe just about the quantum physics of fucking life. It's like you had this aha moment and you're like, this is how it works, and this is how it works for fucking everybody. And again, it could just be sharing your perspective, sharing also too, like what is true for you, because this is coming through really huge for me right now too, is the importance of sharing our truth with the fucking world, because I think we're at a period of our existence and history, at least in this country, where we are seeing how much is actually bullshit and how much we have been fucking lied to, and how much has been purposefully swept under the rug, and like no consequences for, and even putting those people in positions of fucking power and allowing them to continue to stay in positions of power too. And like there's a lot of fucking lies out there. And I'm not just talking about like, the current fuck ass administration. I'm talking about everything. I'm talking about how, corporations could literally give a single fuck about their employees. Like institutions, and how, I don't know if you saw that girl that was doing that like social experiment where, when the government was shut down, she was calling all these churches and asking if they would donate 1 can of formula to her to feed her baby. And the majority of them said no. Are you fucking kidding me? Tax the churches. Seriously, I mean, tax the church. I believed that before, but tax the fucking churches. I mean, of course, those e-files that are coming out. I could go on and on. I could go on and on about all the money that we send to one particular place. Like, and like I said, anyway, I could go on and on. I won't. My point is, there's a lot of fucking bullshit that's coming out. And to the people that we give our attention to online, because attention is currency. And, we're seeing these influencers come out who we thought, because they presented a certain way, right? Like that they were a certain way. And it's coming out now that they're actually not. But, they were acting that way. They had the platform that they did because it made them fucking money. And because it got them views and it got them, followers and subscribers and shit, But it's like all that bullshit is coming out, and we need people. We need more fucking people who are showing up authentically online and sharing their truth. We need more people too that won't be like sustainable to fucking turning into a grifter, like once they have some sort of a platform, or I don't know. I don't know how you like guarantee that, but I'm just saying, like, we went down that route. Like, that's also like what was coming through, like with this King of Swords and truth. Like, we need more truth out there. We need more people speaking like their truth. I mean, you know, you could be like even I was telling you about myself, right? Like, that's just me telling you what I discovered to be true for myself, right? Like, and I encourage you to write a comment, leave me a comment, like, what is true for you? Or writing, or, you know, posting videos of if you've been thinking about doing that, but just haven't for whatever reason, you know, just start, because that's really the only way to get comfortable anyway, you know? And again, you know, like, just stick to what is true for you. We have the Queen of Wands and the King of Wands at the bottom of the deck. And then the Five of Swords behind it, which is interesting. Like, you know, there's this progression little thing happening here. And it's also interesting that we go from swords, our mind, to action. I mean, the Wheel of Fortune is Jupiter, which is Sagittarius or Pisces. This is also, too, like, just a quick reminder that in the realm of human design, we don't make decisions from our head or the root, right? Like, because they're both pressure centers. You know, like a thought, and you can see on your body graph that, you know, the little triangle goes outside of the human, like, silhouette, right? And, you know, ideas like come into our minds, right? Downloads or whatever. We receive information, and there's generally pressure behind that to do something with it. But, you know, we let it go through our strategy and authority before we do anything with it. Like, you know, I started to finally experiment with that. And mainly it was like wanting to communicate it, or like wanting to say something about it out loud. But when I allowed it to go through my strategy and authority, I got a no. And I'm like, oh, okay. And the other part with that is honoring the no. You know, like, it's following that. And I shit you not, like, there's been every single time there has been a no, like, it's like something will come up in a later conversation, and I'm like, oh, I remember this whatever idea, or, you know, even receiving information from other people, or, you know, whatever that is relevant to, like, the conversation that I found myself in. And when I shared it, it was like actually received, you know, like, it's just interesting how, and I have a defined throat, and I want to say that every gate that comes off of the throat is a projected gate. So, you know, projectors wait for the invitation, right? So, not that there was, like, necessarily an invitation, but it was that all of a sudden I find myself in this conversation where this information is relevant to share now, you know, like, so that kind of in itself was like an invitation. So anyway, you know, we just, like, experiment with those little things that happen. But yeah, so we go from swords to wands. Swords being, again, our mindset, our thoughts, our beliefs, truth. Wands being action. I don't see this as being like a divine partnership. It certainly can be, if that's what you are looking for, absolutely. But I see this as being confident within yourself, you know, like authentic, certain of your expression as well, because for me, queens are when we embody the energy of the suit ourselves. Like we recognize it, we learn to work with it, we learn to master it within ourselves. So, it is getting clear on who we are, what we're capable of. And every single one of us is that bitch, right? And it's like, it's accepting that. And then it's also too, like, how is that expressed through you? Like, what is the authentic way for you to show up and to express your creativity? And even, again, wands, creativity, passion. What's your motivation behind those things? And what actions do you take on those things? And I also see wands as being information by way of experience, because that's what we get by trying things. What works? What doesn't work? What do we like? What don't we like? And I was, talking about creativity over there with the affirmation card. And then the King of Wands would be an outward expression of that. It would be other people seeing your expression of that. There's creative freedom there. It is taking like inspired action or aligned action, like I said, because even, setting intentions, right? Like that was a major thing that came through for me in October. And I posted a video about my DMT journey, and that's like where it started. And I literally like went down this whole rabbit hole of like, what the fuck is an intention? And it was actually kind of difficult to find somebody who would actually explain what intention was. I can't even tell you if I actually even found anybody. They just said like, well, you just set intentions. Okay, well, yeah, but like, what the fuck is an intention? But there was no really like, and I think, it was my first line that I'm like, no, I need to like understand what the meaning of intention is. And what I came to, it's a real simple. Intention is an idea with aligned action. You have to have both though for an intention to actually materialize. Otherwise, it's just an idea. Or otherwise, it's just, like taking action on something, but not really having a definitive plan or vision for like what you even want out of taking that action. So you need both. You need the idea, you need the clarity of mind in order to take the aligned action. And aligned action is what is going to turn this idea into a reality, or like, how am I going to accomplish this goal? Like, what actions am I going to take, or what steps am I going to take in order to get there? I think, like, are these crystals or are they like wood? We are talking about wands here, but I'm just like, let's see. It is a crystal. The energy from the crystal wand is optimistic and self-assured. It's glowing from within, radiating a mature confidence. The hand holding the crystal is poised, gentle, yet powerful. But on close inspection, is the crystal being held or handed to you? The queen in this card possesses a fiery strength and independence that she wishes to transfer to you. Are you willing to seize this opportunity? Active social life, many admirers, protective of those around you. A stately crown encircles a large double-terminated crystal wand for the King of Wands. There is an energy of self-possessed power and authority beaming from the crown and crystal pair. They share complementary energy that is here to help you. Filled with drive and passion, tenaciousness, not afraid to take a risk, flexible in the right circumstances. And fuck it, while we're at it, the King of Swords is high intellect, technological advances, embraces new ideas. And, you know, like with this Five of Swords over here, there may be some pushback, which we're used to, right? Like, please. And it could even have been that you really figured out like how to accept that projections are inevitable. That they literally, I mean, they have nothing to do with you. I had this conversation with my mom because my dad is a 5-1 as well. And I observe him and how I am towards him. And I'm like, man, you know, it's honest. It was a little fucking depressing because I'm like, he's not necessarily actively doing anything. And I'm just like, oh, I can't stand you. But of course, you know, I have history there, right? Like, but I've also, like, I've come to realize when I am around him, like, if I do start to feel activated or charged or, like, uptight and wound really fucking tight, you know, I'm like, okay, what is it with me? Because it's always an I statement, right? Like, anytime there's a projection, it's always an I statement because I wouldn't feel that way about somebody else if it wasn't already in my consciousness, right? So I'm always like, okay, where am I judging myself or frustrated with myself or angry at myself or whatever the case may be, you know? Which is fucking exhausting. But I'm also like, I'm glad that I know that. And I know that because I'm a 5-1 as well, right? But still, I'm like, it just fucking sucks that like people will also feel that way around me and I have no fucking control over it. I'm not even an active participant in it sometimes. And the projection will still happen. And like I said, I'm having this conversation with my mom and I'm like, it just fucking sucks. But also at the same time, like it is a little freeing because truly, like if there is nothing that I can do to change it, like what's that whole like serenity prayer or whatever, right? Like, well, it just left my mind, but something about like, you know, change the things that you can, damn it. Grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, courage to change the things I can, and wisdom to know the difference. I cannot change anybody's perception of me. I have tried, and the only way that I was able to exist in that way of being was by being drunk. And even then it didn't work. But I really can't. I know that, and I think this is a gift for the 5-1 as well. Like, I mean, you really do end up having to like know yourself so fucking deeply to where other people's projections don't affect you because you know you would never do that. You're not that type of person that they are accusing you of being, you know, like you would never, whatever, right? Like, because you know yourself that fucking deep that you just know it's not true, you know? And I think that is a fucking gift for a 5-1. And, you know, remaining in your integrity. Although, I know like not every 5-1 goes that deep, like within themselves, and not every 5-1 is, integral and blah, 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 whatever. I know you guys are. The ones that are here, I know you are. But anyway, just to finish my thought, I'm like telling my mom, I'm like, it really is freeing, because if I really cannot fucking change how other people are going to view me, or what they perceive to be me, then I just need to do whatever the fuck I want to do. I know that I would never intentionally hurt somebody. I know that I would never intentionally say some shit that would harm somebody. Like, I know that because I know me. And anything else, like any other, perspective. And I'm not saying that every single person that I know who has an opinion of me is wrong, because all they're doing is projecting. But what I am saying is that I'm not attached at all to whatever their opinion is. We all have one. I have an opinion about myself, and sometimes it's not great. Other times it is. Like, I don't know. Do you want to compare notes? Like, we can do that. But am I going to change my behavior? More than likely not, unless there is harmful behavior that I am engaging in. You know what I mean? Like, so anyway, that's how, like, my whole point in going in that fucking rant is that with this 5 of Swords here, like, you could butt heads with people. Like, people could push back. But that would be because you are touching on a truth about themselves that they don't want to admit yet. And also, like, you are not responsible for people's projections. That's like how this is coming through. It could even be too, like, really protecting yourself against projections. Like, if there have been projections coming at you, and this could just be, like I said, like over here with the King of Swords, this is your truth in your hands. You know what is true. You can share your truth, like, until you're blue in the fucking face. And if people just do not want to see it, they fucking won't. That's not the point either, like, your mission, should you choose to accept it, is to honor your truth. And, the 8 of Pentacles is about work, day-to-day routines. It's putting in the time, the effort, the energy, the resources, the money into yourself to master a thing. Also, though, but the way that this card keeps coming through, and it's only come out like one other time anyway, but this person, like, they're holding a needle and they're about to, poke this star. It feels like bursting bubbles. And maybe that's, like, what's happening. You start showing up authentically, right? You start speaking your truth because you know what your truth is. The energy is available. You already know this inside of yourself anyway, to start sharing that in whatever capacity it is for you. And people are going to have a fucking reaction to it. They're going to start, and again, it's going to be because maybe there are certain areas of their life where they're not being truthful, because no doubt, or they're not living authentically, or, whatever. And it is just, again, remaining in your integrity, remaining in what is true for you, not being a jerk. And it almost maybe too, like, bursts some of your own bubbles. Maybe you limit access to certain people. Maybe you start taking out responsibility. Maybe you start feeling less responsible for other people. It could even just be, again, right, like muscle memory, in the sense of how we approach things in our, like, physical lives, the actions that we take in our physical lives, practical. steps, right? This could even just be like thought bubbles, you know, like it could just be trying shit. But it's like going through them. And also, I'm kind of curious too, like even what the book says about, because I'm curious, like if she even mentions why she used like that imagery, you know? I am the card of hard work and diligence. I remind you that to become truly proficient in any task takes time and effort on your part. The more you invest in yourself, the more satisfaction you will have in a job. Industrious productivity, conscientious hard work pays off. But a hand holding a needle and thread has just finished the work required to create a star in the sky. Okay. Yep. No, that's not at all like embroidery, you know? 7 other stars sit close by, already finished. And also too, like this, it really is like recreating, again, like I think we were talking about over here, like what you believe to be true, like what you believe to be possible. And, you know, it's creating a life that you believe in, that is like through your own image, and putting the work and the time and the investment into things that matter to you, whatever that is. And we also need more of that because, again, you know, like I won't go on this like long ass tangent about it again, but part of the lie that we have all, you know, been conditioned to believe is that there is only one way to be successful in life. And that is by working for a corporation or having your traditional type of job, you know, or you know, having that sense of stability and security, or climbing a ladder, or, you know, marriage or life, or, you know, owning property, whatever it is, right? Like that's all fucking propaganda that they fed us so that the people who are at the top can remain there. Because if it weren't for all of us little minions down here, they wouldn't exist, you know? They don't realize that. But we need more people to come to the realization that they are the masters of their own ship. And it's like one of those things, like if I can't even afford to live on 40 hours a week, like what is the fucking point of working for a company if they're not paying a wage where you can actually live off of just that one job alone? Fuck them. And especially if their like CEO is making 200+% what the median, you know, fucking employee is making. Absolutely not. But also, you're right. I mean, like not everybody has the ability or the access, or, you know, like I'm not giving you financial advice. I'm not saying, you know, just quit your job, but it's like a mindset shift, and it's, you know, starting to make decisions based on, you know, like what do I fucking want? What do I believe to be possible, and what actions can I take right now towards those things? Anyway, thanks for letting me yap. This is beautiful, dude. Thank you for letting me read your cards. I'll talk to you soon. Bye.